Hey techies! I wanted to talk a bit about how 2026 has been so far. It's been surprisingly good. I'm really enjoying my projects that I am working on. My classes have not been super difficult. In fact, I would argue this quarter is the easiest quarter I've had during my time in university. And actually, I believe this will stay the easiest quarter throughout my career. So that's nice. And I've actually been making progress on some of my goals that I've been wanting to work on recently. No, they're not New Year's resolutions, though. I don't particularly believe in the concept of New Year's resolutions. After all, you're telling me just because the calendar year changed from 2025 to 2026, now I magically have the willpower to make every dream come true that I've thought of? It just doesn't make any sense at all, in my opinion. However, last year I did have some goals I wanted to work on that I won't discuss here in a lot of detail. I want to discuss them when I've gotten much more progress on them. I believe in the notion that when you say things that are positive, like imagining success from goals, that provides the feeling of joy that you would get from actually achieving that goal. That's why in many instances, I feel that people talk about their goals so fondly and ultimately don't continue or don't get very far because they talk about their goals too much and they feel good about it in the present moment. And so there's no real reason for them to continue that goal because they already feel good, right? By imagining that they already feel good about it. But all I'll say is the goals have been going good in general. Goals that I've started during the latter half of 2025, not just start of 2026. I've been working on these for a few months now and have been continuing strong today. In addition, I've been up to a lot more interesting things than just my main STEM projects, like my job in my lab. I enjoy those too, don't get me wrong, but I've been tuning into some other things that bring me lots of joy. Recently, I hosted a Mario Kart World tourney with tons of friends, and it was one of the best experiences I've had in a while. In addition, I've gotten back into beach volleyball, singing, running, and joining more clubs at campus, which are all making life a lot better recently, so I enjoy it. Things are feeling so good, and I'm able to manage it all alongside my workload somehow. The days end up passing so quickly that I'm in disbelief at how fast things are going, in all the best ways, of course. However, it's not that the past month has been smooth sailing all of the time, though. Even after working very hard to prepare for an interview I had for a robotics software engineering intern position, I didn't quite make it through. Sad. I was pretty frustrated at first and still am a bit sad, but after a day of processing it, I instead want to use that experience as motivation to keep applying and going for more opportunities. I don't intend to let one failure stop me, and if I got the interview, heck, that means I have potential to get another one, right? In engineering, if there's a problem, we solve it. And this one shouldn't be any different. Also, someone stole my bike bag at my university. So it's like the bag that I had on the back side of my bike. It was very convenient for carrying my locks around, extra things that are a bit heavier that I can't fit in my backpack. It was so convenient. But that's gone. I can't say that I am surprised since it's not secured super well on my bike. It was mainly tied with a few zip ties, and anyone with a pair of working hands and a pair of working scissors could get it off with relatively low effort. However, it's been 2 years and I was hoping it would be fine, and those 2 years went pretty well, but I guess parking it for long periods of time on campus probably isn't the most secure in the long run anyways. At least the bike is functional, so I should be grateful for that. The tires aren't missing and the frame's still there, so I can still use it. It's just that I don't have the extra storage capacity that I used to. So at least I can be grateful for that. That's something I'd like to transition to, actually. The concept of gratitude. Gratitude is the quality of being thankful. I believe gratitude is the remedy to many kinds of fears, sorrows, and frustrations. There's a different lens you can see things. Like I said, for the past 2 examples, even though the interview didn't work out necessarily, it was a good experience and good motivation to apply more. And like I said earlier, the bike is still functional when many people get their bike's wheels stolen or the entire bike is gone. I can be grateful that my bike got off easy. Not to say that I'm an altruist. I'd understand that. Not to say that I just am an altruist that sees the best in everything and thinks everything is sunshine and rainbows. I understand that reality isn't sunshine and rainbows. There's many times where things are genuinely terrible. However, all emotions exist for a reason. When we feel guilt, anger, loneliness, anguish, disappointment, and other kinds of emotions, they're there for a reason. And when we process what that reason is, when we process what the reason is for that emotion, it helps us to gain the benefit of the emotion without feeling entirely constricted by it. I will feel the guilt of leaving my bike with less security than I would have liked. And while I felt guilty, as I should have prepared the bike better and turned on its alarm mode before I left for winter break, I likely would have deterred any thieves. However, I can learn from the emotion and take that knowledge with me for the future and get back to feeling joyful about after fully processing the emotion. Gratitude helps me to take that step forward after processing. Yes, there are things that can go wrong, and they will go wrong. But when you think about all the things that have gone right and are continuing to go right, suddenly the bad things happening now aren't as bad compared to all of the things that you do have. All it takes is a notepad and a pen and a few minutes of writing down things and people that you're grateful for. And it really puts into perspective how much you actually have and how much we tend to fixate on the bad versus the good. After I process those emotions, there's so many things to look forward to. So many games, shows, movies, etc. that I am unbelievably excited for. For starters, Tomodachi Life Living the Dream coming out in April. I am so excited for it. As I was writing the script, I was listening to the new direct that came out for the game. It's been well over 10 times of watching and listening to it. Addiction comes out in strange ways, let me tell you. This game is so addicting. For starters, Tomodachi Life Living the Dream coming out in April. I am so excited for it. As I was writing the script, I was listening to the new direct that recently came out for the game, and it's been well over 10 times of watching / listening to it. Addiction comes out in strange ways, let me tell you. This game is so nostalgic for me. As I played it so long ago and had so much fun with it, I honestly didn't imagine they would make another game, mainly because the community that enjoys this series seems so niche. However, the Nintendo deities listen to our prayers, and this is the closest thing to spirituality that I've experienced in a while. Now I have to talk about the Mario Galaxy movie, because Mario Galaxy is one of my favorite games of all time. I look back on the memories I had when me and my sister would play Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 all the time when we were younger. That was our only concern in life. No worrying about jobs, school, money, relationships. It was just us and our little universe that we could stay immersed in for hours on end. That's also the only game I can safely say I've played well over 7 times throughout my life. 8th, if you include the most recent playthrough I started with one of my university friends who doesn't play games much. I had to hook her up to this wonderful piece of art. If you see a theme of addiction, no, you didn't. The Mario Galaxy movie comes out a few days before my birthday, so you better believe I am booking one ticket and then inviting all of my friends to help occupy the theater with me, and all of us watch the Mario movie together. It is so heartwarming that such an important part of my childhood is being brought to the big screen like this. Even when I watched the first Mario movie, I felt so special understanding all the references and tidbits the creators put in the movie specifically for us Nintendo fans to appreciate and recognize and point at in awe and excitement. Video games are such a special part of my life and personality. Even in university, where I have tons of things I can and have been doing, like the sports, the travel, the hiking, the outings, and the clubs. So many things I can do and experience. Sometimes nothing beats sitting at home, cozy with no other worries, and booting up your Nintendo console and letting your mind wander in the experience. And there's more to it. There's a spin-off series for Amphibia, a show I really like. If you guys haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. I have also watched that show over 4 times, coming out this year. It is an animated show, but it's a graphic novel miniseries, and I love Amphibia, and heck, content's content, okay? I'm not complaining in the slightest. I'll buy it all in a heartbeat. This interest has me even doing things outside of just reading or watching the show. In fact, my friends and I are planning a trip to Long Beach to see the Aquarium of the Pacific, which was featured in the final episode of the show. Apparently, according to Google, fans of the show congregate there sometimes to talk about and share memories about the show. And I gotta say, that does sound pretty fun to meet others I can talk about with this enjoyment I have in the show. That's just scratching the surface with our travel, though. There's a lot of travel in my future, including Pokemon World Championships, Seattle, maybe East Coast, and Japan. Travel fuels me so much, and it motivates me to keep working hard, to have the best career and making tons of money so I could have money to comfortably experience the world and see new sights so frequently. Whenever I get back from a trip of small or large scale, I feel the excitement and am so melancholic at the adventure we had ending and having to go back to my normal, regular old life. Not saying that won't be true in the future after I develop my career, but I will do my best to make sure I have lots of money and time to travel and experience things, and if it doesn't start out like that, I'll find a way to make it happen. There's a lot more to come that is exciting, but I may save that for another video. I just wanted to share, last year was probably one of the worst in my life. It was very hard academically, socially, family-wise, workload-wise, pretty much every aspect you can think of. I also had to do a lot of introspection and figure out what my priorities were in life. And if I was okay with things staying the same as they had been, so far, I think... And if I was okay with things staying the same as they had been, I would not be feeling this happy now after I did that work to understand myself and reflect on my priorities and shift things. So far, I think it's paying off. And even if slowly, things are gradually paying off for me. I sincerely hope 2026 is going well for you guys so far. And if it's not, a conversation with friends, family members, or anyone else you can really trust is so beneficial. The friends I've made, the family I hold dear, the mentors I've had, they've all been such amazing sources of support, and I try my best to be there for them as much as I can and be innovative in how I can be there for them while doing everything else in my life. Since my friends are one of the biggest reasons why 2026 has been so great. All right, let's cut the mushy stuff and end the video already. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya, techies.